Part of me is a bit surprised that it took Acura this long to come out with a subcompact crossover like the ADX. I know the MDX is their best-selling vehicle by far, but that doesn't mean that people aren't gonna flock to the ADX. They will, I promise you that. So what is it exactly? Take the engine from the Acura Integra, stuff it into a Honda HR-V, and there you go. Of course, it's a little bit more complicated than that, but I've got to call it like it is. This engine is pulled straight from the Integra, albeit tuned a little bit differently. It's got 190 horsepower, 179 pound-feet of torque here, versus the Integra's 200 horsepower and 192 pound-feet of torque. I mean, the Integra's not quick, but it's quicker than this. So that's a 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. And that's not the only thing it has in common with the Integra. This is effectively sitting on the exact same platform as that car. The wheelbase is very slightly different, but this does share the platform between those three vehicles. The HR-V and this have the exact same wheelbase, but in all essence, this is a lifted Integra. It's a remix between those two vehicles. That engine is not only more powerful than the Honda HR-V, but it's also more fuel efficient, very slightly. It gets an average of 8.5 liters per 100 kilometers or 28 miles per gallon. Another big difference between the HR-V and this has a slightly quicker steering rack actually. So a little bit less input to get the same amount of steering response, just to try to sharpen it up a little bit, because as an Acura buyer, not only is it supposed to have, better materials on the inside here, more comfortable, more options, but it's supposed to be fun. So up here in Canada, every ADX is all-wheel drive. That's standard on the base model, and then A-Spec and A-Spec Elite, you can spec up from there. In the States, every trim level is available in front-wheel drive as well, so okay, so that 1.5 liter turbo engine is paired to a CVT. Okay, if you're an ADX buyer, you probably don't even know what a CVT is. You're just, light to light, partial throttle, the turbo spools up. You've got way more torque, way lower down than the HR-V's naturally aspirated 2 liter does. So that in and of itself is just, for me, a worthwhile upgrade, and we'll talk about price at the end of the video. But this powertrain is the best, just light to light, kind of half throttle and stuff like that. The throttle response is perfect. It's phenomenal. It's like all of the other inputs in the vehicle, exactly what I would expect from an Acura. There's a ton of feel in the steering for an ADX, but everything's just easy to use and comfortable to live with. I love the view out of the hood. I'm sitting low enough down. The driving position's decent. The pedals feel like they're a little bit close to me. I don't know why that is. I'm as far away as I want to be. I don't want to have my arms like extended like gangster lean style. And the steering wheel's as close to me as I can get it, but somehow my knees are like crunched up, and I'm not a tall guy. So maybe that's just me. I don't know, but I definitely noticed that. Everything else in here is Acura. It's smooth. It rides incredibly smooth. If you have snow mode, this all-wheel drive system can send up to 50% of the torque to the front. Feels like it's doing exactly what it should be, at least at reasonable street speeds. And then we have normal mode. That's what I use the most. The throttle's not too lazy. And then in sport, it's almost too twitchy for me. The top of the pedal is super sensitive. And then the rest of it, it responds quicker. It's good. I like the engine the best in sport, without question. We've got paddles on the steering wheel. The way I said that, I feel obligated to tell you, because it's a nice thing that Acura's given you on paper. In practice, in sport mode, it will simulate gear shift automatically at a near full throttle scenario at the top of the power band anyways. It feels like with most CVTs, almost like a slingshot effect or a slingshot feeling, even when you're in manual. Like if I downshift to second, 4,000 RPM, I floor it, it just feels loose. It feels disconnected, and it's a CVT, you guys. It's an Acura ADX. It is not an Integra Type S. That's it. The CVT is the culprit here. It's, you know, we don't have to give the CVT a fair trial. You know, guilty until proven innocent here. But like I said, if you're kind of driving the ADX like you would drive an ADX 90% of the time, it's great. And yes, because I'm in sport mode, it is pumping in augmented sound. So, that was a really long way to say that the RDX and MDX are both infinitely more fun to drive quickly. I would love to drive this back to back with the Integra, because the Integra weighs 450 pounds or 441 pounds less than this, and it has adaptive suspension. The Integra is going to be a more nimble experience. We already know that, right? And this has the same engine, it's got the same underpinnings. Effectively, why wouldn't you just buy an Integra? Okay, so hear me out. I know what you're thinking. Marcus, the ADX has way more cargo space. It doesn't. It simply doesn't. The Integra is a hatchback. Both cars with the seats folded up. The ADX only has 2 liters more of cargo space back there. You know how much volume that is? That's 10 Rubik's Cubes, if you had trouble putting that into perspective. It's not a lot of Rubik's Cubes. Actually, it's more Rubik's Cubes than I've ever seen in my entire life, but that's besides the point. It's not a lot of space. So in the back of people's minds, I feel just because a vehicle looks taller and it looks a little bit larger, because it is, they might think that it then translates to additional cargo space, a ton of it. And this is a perfect example of a case where it doesn't. And actually specifically in the Platinum Elite trim level here, I believe it's because of this subwoofer, this additional woofer we have back here. This actually has a lot less cargo space when compared to the base trim. So the Integra has a lot more cargo space than the ADX I'm driving today. I'll leave that for you guys. As far as the exterior goes, the ADX is so much easier to look at than the HRV. The front of the HRV looks like a fish. Straight up, that's just what came to my mind first. So, of course, you've got the Acura kind of, at this point, signature taillight, LED taillight kind of design, similar to the MDX, but distinctly ADX here. And then, of course, it's got little wing on the top here, blades to help with aerodynamics. And then on the front, it looks a lot like the Integra, actually. It looks like a lifted Integra, so it does really well in separating itself from the HRV on which it is based. The A-Spec models do get the gloss black kind of cladding around the wheel wells, of course, to visually make it look like it stands a little bit taller. I think it's a great looking vehicle. It's the perfect size if you don't want a taller crossover, a taller SUV that's a little bit more difficult to park. So not quite as aggressive or sharp looking as the RDX or MDX, the flagships, but it looks good, especially in this urban gray pearl. So in here, one of the key features the ADX has over the HRV is this 9-inch touchscreen they've stuck on the dash, or at least it was. Honda just announced the 2026 update for the HRV, and this 9-inch screen comes standard across the board. So that's one less point the ADX has over that HRV, but the system itself is great. Here on the top, Platinum Elite trim, we have Google built in, so Google Maps is built in. I mean, aesthetically, it doesn't look the greatest. It's just a tablet stuck on the dash. But as far as functionality goes, yeah, it works great. You've got Google Assistant as well, Play Store. You can download a number of apps. Of course, all ADXs have wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay standard. This one, the Platinum Elite, has Bang & Olufsen. So I don't believe I've driven, other than the MDX Type S, an Acura product with a Bang & Olufsen sound system, it's great. Not as good as, you know, what you're gonna find in a $100,000 SUV. There's just not as much space in here, but the tweeters are awesome, the highs are great. I'm no audiophile, but even just a little bit extra bass was like too much. So really good range here, and you can kind of adjust your 3D surround and stereo. Like I said, I'm not an audiophile, but that's definitely a high point here. The A-Specs get brushed aluminum here. That looks awesome. Physical volume control up there, and then climate, of course, heated and ventilated seats. The storage here is great. We've got, I mean, don't stare into the abyss for too long. That center console, terrible joke. The center console here is huge. This cup holder is really deep, and then there's a second one over here that's kind of oddly shaped. You could stick another phone there, I guess, or some coins, and then your charger here. The RDX does a better job of storage underneath here. All the materials are what you'd expect, a cut above what you would find in a Honda. However, the Acura RDX and MDX steering wheels, same with the TLX, they all have the same steering wheel, is a little bit better. It's a little bit thicker, but this is fine. It works really well. Heated steering wheel is standard on the ADX, only in Canada though. You have to spec the top trim ADX in the States. I don't know whether Honda thinks that Michigan, Maine, New York, Kansas don't get cold in the winter, but I'll tell you, they get a lot colder than here in British Columbia on the west coast here in Canada. So I don't know who makes those decisions, but heated steering wheel, I'm glad it's here as standard. Seats are great. We've got ultra suede and leatherette here in the top trims. Weird thing though, in the HRV, you can spec leather. You can't spec leather in any ADX. Not that I would want to. These seats are great. We also have hill descent control. So that's something that you would not need on an Integra, but it's here anyways if you do go off-road or camping or wherever you are totally using this additional ground clearance. Okay, so I've made my argument as to why you should get out of a subcompact crossover into a sedan, back into a sedan. It's never gonna happen. People are gonna want what they want. They're gonna go with the trends. People wanna sit higher. I get that. I don't know why, but for like a split second, I can put myself into their shoes. So I'll give up on that argument. Let's talk HRV versus ADX. I have not driven the HRV, but just on paper, the top HRV, the top trim EXL, has, well, at least 4 things missing that the ADX gets in base trim. First off is the engine. That's the elephant in the room. So that alone would almost be worth the additional $3,000 that you'll pay, the discrepancy between the top HRV and the base ADX. I'll get into the pricing in a second. The other 3 things are 4-way lumbar, a power passenger seat, it's manual in the HRV, and a power liftgate. There's no power liftgate on any HRV model, so keep that in mind. Here in Canada, the ADX starts at $45,000 Canadian, or for you guys in the States, $35,000 as tested is $55,000 Canadian or $45,000 USD. So still really good value if you don't want to step up into the much more powerful RDX, if you don't need the additional space that the CR-V from Honda gives you, and stuff like that. The bottom line here though is, this needs the hybrid system. The Civic Hybrid is such a good car. You should go watch my review on it if you haven't already. And I have a feeling Acura is going to take that hybrid system and put it in here because it would bump the power up to what you get with, let's say, a Mercedes GLA or a BMW X1 in base trim, which is a lot more power for less money. With the hybrid system that Honda already has, it produces a little bit closer to those torque figures while getting, of course, way better fuel efficiency. So that's my takeaway. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Acura ADX A-Spec Elite, a fine daily driver. We'll see you next time.